Chapter 17, Taming the Mind, the Dragon's Breath of Meditation 1:7.1. The stillness within the storm. Finding your center. Mortals, you imagine stillness as a distant prize, something to be earned, achieved only after years of practice. You chase peace as if it is external, something to acquire, rather than something that has always lived within you. But listen closely. Hatchling the storm does not create chaos. It only reveals the turbulence already within you. You fight against your thoughts, believing that to control them is to master them. But tell me, does a dragon quiet the wind, or does it listen to its currents, reading the patterns that shape destiny itself? Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the mastery of awareness. It is standing within the storm, within fear, within doubt, within the rising winds, and remaining unshaken. Consider, when has your mind felt like an untamed storm, pulling you in every direction? Do you try to silence your thoughts, or do you observe them without attachment? What might change if you sought presence rather than perfection? A dragon does not fear the winds. It listens. It understands. It moves with intention. Dragos. Trial, the test of stillness spouse. Close your eyes. Let the storm of your thoughts rage without interference. What do you hear? What remains when you no longer react? How can you practice sitting within the noise, mastering awareness rather than demanding silence? True presence is not found in controlling the storm. It is found in learning to stand within it. 17.2 Breath as the anchor. Techniques for Fokusha. The breath, the foundation of fire, the rhythm of life, the pulse of mastery itself. You take it for granted, using it only when necessary, forgetting that within its movement lies the key to your own awareness. You believe focus comes from force, from effort, from discipline, from controlling every thought. But listen closely, focus is not something you chase. It is something you return to, again and again, like the breath itself. When the mind drifts, when distractions rise, when tilt threatens clarity, the breath remains constant. A single inhale, a single exhale, and suddenly, presence returns. Consider, where do you struggle to maintain focus? Do you try to force concentration, or do you allow the breath to guide it naturally? How might anchoring yourself in breath transform the way you move through the world? A dragon breathes deeply, not because it must, but because fire requires presence, and presence requires breath. Dragos. Trial, the breath of the dragon. Practice this technique. Inhale deeply. Hold. Exhale slowly. Notice how your body responds. Observe how focus shifts with each cycle. Commit to using breath as your anchor, rather than forcing concentration through tension. Mastery is not in controlling the mind. It is in guiding it gently, like the wind guiding a flame. 17.3 Transcending the tilt. Maintaining equanimity. The tilt, the descent into frustration. The moment when emotion drowns reason, when reaction overtakes clarity. You believe that equanimity is something granted only to the wise, the patient, the enlightened. But tell me, does the river stop moving simply because it meets resistance? Or does it carve new paths, flowing around obstacles with effortless grace? Equanimity is not the denial of emotion. It is the ability to feel deeply without being consumed. It is knowing that anger, fear, desire, all of them are part of the flow. You do not need to suppress them. You need only allow them to move, without attachment, without grasping, without becoming lost within them. Consider, when have your emotions dictated your actions rather than informed them? Do you react instantly, or do you pause long enough to understand before moving forward? What would change if you saw emotion as energy, rather than as something that must be controlled? A dragon does not fear its own fire. It understands its purpose. Dragos. Trial, The path beyond tilt reflect on a recent moment when frustration overtook clarity. How did you react? How might presence have changed the outcome? How will you train yourself to pause, not to suppress, but to understand before choosing your next action? The fire does not fear the wind. It moves with it. So must you. Final words from Zoran. Presence is not perfection. It is awareness. Mastery is not control. It is understanding. Equanimity is not suppression. It is movement, flow, the ability to wield fire without being consumed. Breathe deeply. Observe. Let go. You are the river. You are the storm. You are the fire. The cards are waiting. The choice is yours. This chapter amplifies the cosmic scale, integrating meditation not as a passive state, but as a force of movement, clarity, and mastery over the internal fire. Zoran challenges the reader to tame their mind not by control, but by learning to flow within the storm.